just how much waste is created in the generation of energy from competing energy sources. Well, if you look at coal or gas, it's actually quite small. It's comparable to nuclear. When it comes to traditional renewables, it takes a lot more materials. Now, this is just the materials to build the infrastructure to extract the energy. This does not include the fuel. Note that when it comes to wind and solar, there really is no fuel per se. It's the sun, and so there is no fuel. And likewise with coal and gas, there's no fuel shown. What's interesting here is that the nuclear is also not shown in terms of the fuel, but it tends to be extremely small, almost infinitesimal. And here's why. When you compare, say, nuclear to fossil fuels, the amount of energy in nuclear is just so much greater. And let me give you an example. Specifically, if I'm burning fossil fuels, I get about 1 electron volt of energy from every atom that's taking place in that reaction. And with nuclear, I get about 200 million electron volts from fissioning of one uranium-235 atom, which means that I've got to have about 200 million atoms from fossil fuels and oxygen in order to create the same amount of energy as one atom in fission. And so that's why it just requires an extremely small amount of fuel. Now, obviously, fossil fuels, they have their own issue, but what's shown in this graph up here is the environmental impact for building the infrastructure. Because if I'm doing hydro, I'm going to need a whole lot of concrete. If I'm doing wind or solar, I'm going to need also steel and concrete, but also a whole lot of rare earth minerals and silica, and all of that has to be mined. And not only does that have to be mined, it has to go back to the earth in some point. And to make matters worse, wind and solar, those have to be replaced around every 20 years, but a nuclear power plant could easily last up to 80 years. And so you're going to continually have to be mining and milling and manufacturing and throwing the stuff away when you're done with it. Unless, of course, we recycle, which if we did that with nuclear fuel, basically the waste problem largely goes away in terms of the used nuclear fuel. And so this is something that a lot of people don't appreciate. I've heard people on social media say that there is no waste from wind or solar, or that there is no impact. There is a massive impact. It's just that they happen to not release greenhouse gases when they're extracting energy. But right now, the manufacturer does require burning fossil fuels, unless you're using nuclear or renewables, to mine and mill and manufacture all of those materials. Something to think about. Hope y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.